The show is hashtag. Right here, we're going to tell you what's trending online, and I can tell you the grapevine is buzzing like mad today, especially on X. My name is Vivian Agamako Anka Ikechukwu. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Vivian.
Good evening.
Good evening to our viewers. It's another very interesting Thursday.
Yeah.
And I trust you have good rest because you look very sparkling.
Okay. Does a good dress relate to good
rest, I said.
Oh, okay, good rest.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, the night was sweet.
I know.
Tell me to tell you why later.
Okay.
Guys, if you're game, let's get this show on the road. The first hashtag is hashtag Wike's Aide. Now I'm talking about the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. He's trending. This is like a threesome, yeah? Not like guys, not like a threesome you're thinking. Yeah, so this is like a threesome that involves Wike's aide, Larry Olayinka, and Wike's son, really. So the People's Gazette, which is a newspaper, a publication actually very well known, dropped a bombshell today saying that land was billions of naira was giving, in Abuja by the way, was given by the FCT minister to his son. And it is trending, but there's a twist to this story. It has become controversial online, so it's trending. Wike's spokesperson, Larry Olayinka, has come out to debunk the allegation, but the People's Gazette, they are standing on their claim, calling it an exclusive, and they've refused to retract this statement. So it's a timeline. Why don't I walk you through it? So come with me as we go to X, find out what's happening. People's Gazette says, exclusive, Wike intensifies mindless looting of Abuja lands, allocates 2,082 hectares worth $3.6 billion to son Joaquin in Joaquin, is it Joaquin? Yeah, in Maitama, Asokoro. Let's take a look at the next tweet now. This is the debunker. The Guardian put it up. Larry Olayinka, this is breaking by the way, it says, the Guardian says, Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media to the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has debunked reports of his boss allocating lands to his son. Some people think this is just propaganda and that Larry should go learn more from the masters. Take a look at this next tweet. Yeah, Ima Ike Ume, aka TC, says Larry should go and learn propaganda very well. See the evidence. These are receipts there, and he put it up, which the People's Gazette put up as well. Follow the file serial number, Ima Ike says, everything for his own son was allocated on the same day. And then he goes on to say, Wike must be sacked. At Gazette, NJR has brought out more evidence. Ikechukwu. It's mind-boggling. Yeah?
Interesting times.
It is. Interesting times.
And this sort of conversation, the first thing that pops into my head is, okay, so the season we are in, unfortunately, it's supposed to be next year. Next year is supposed to be the election year, ushering the main election event, but it started already, and then a lot of politicking. People try to bring up, allegations that it's going to dent the image of key players, in a particular political party. That's on one hand.
Talking about key players.
Yes.
Remember, don't lose your thought. You're going to tell us what's on the other hand. But when you talk about political key players, the FCT minister is one.
Absolutely. He's a very strong key player for the APC at this point. Because
he happens to be a PDP member.
Miraculously.
This is ironic.
Miraculously, And now on the other hand, right, you look at the character of the person involved, you understand that he's a man who doesn't care, whatever he wants, he go all out for it. And the antecedent of our politicians, how they've always been conducting themselves. I mean, do they have, character of looting properties? Yes. Do they have a character of looting money? Yes. Do they have character of, don't care about people, whatever people say, let them just say, they are not going to do anything after talking? Yes. So is it possible that he can or they can do something like this? Very well possible. So the thing is, whatever happens, this is just us having a conversation. Nigerians love to talk. Nigerians don't like to ask. I said this yesterday, and it comes back again. But at the end of the day, one thing is going to be certain.
Yeah.
If by any chance Tinubu loses election 2027, whoever owns this property is going to come full known to everybody, because when the opposition comes in, they're going to sweep all the debt out, and then we're going to see, and of course, if eventually that the claim by People's Gazette is real, then of course the land is going to be revoked, and then a lot of EFCC issues and all of that is going to be at the center of it.
Now that you mention it, let me just tell you what's happening. This particular hashtag is trending under another name, Emefiele.
Interesting.
Interesting. People are saying, look, Wike, you should just remember that power is transient.
Absolutely.
Look at what Emefiele is going through right now. That if it can be discovered that the whole estate belongs to him and his cohorts, who knows, when Wike is no longer in power, this might happen. But let's keep it at the back of our mind that his spokesperson is debunking this thing.
Okay.
Yeah. You're okay. It's suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, because Nigerian politicians are not to be trusted, and so they can pay anybody to actually do their bidding. Trust me, this might not even be the end of this conversation. Yeah. Larry says something. Perhaps, a certain laundryman is going to come up tomorrow in the person of Lorena Mokri to do his own part of the job. And then we can have other persons like Daniel Boala also step into the ring and say, no, this government is very transparent. He can't actually do this. The fact is, he's still very much shielded under the power that be, which is the president and, of course, the ABC government at this point.
How did you call Reno Mokri again?
Laundryman.
Laundryman. It looks like he's getting better. His image is actually getting better. You used to call him an assassin, but now you're calling him a laundryman. Things are getting better.
No, absolutely. See,
I'm just pulling your leg.
The thing is,
I know.
the thing is, for his people, he's a laundryman. He launders their image. For the opponent, he's a political assassin.
Oh my gosh, there we go again.
That's what.
But like you said, this story is not going to be swept under the carpet.
No, not anytime.
Right. So we're going to keep our finger on the pulse of things.
Definitely. And
as events unfold, we will keep you posted. The next hashtag is also a follow-up to one of the hashtags we did yesterday. It is hashtag Mr. Peter Obi. You remember how we played a video of the politician and philanthropist lamenting that his brother's property in Lagos, the Ikeja area in Lagos, had been demolished. Right? The Lagos state government now has come out to say that it wasn't Lagos state government that ordered the demolition of Peter Obi's younger brother's property. Right? And the tweet really, I'm going to show it to you in a short while. It was very weighty and heavy sounding. Let me show it to you so you understand exactly what I'm saying. There are also lots of reactions to this. So the Lagos state government says, clarification on demolition of property. Come with me here, bear with me as I read this whole thing. This is not all of it, but I figure we should do this for clarity. Now, the Lagos state government is compelled to address the recent allegations made by Mr. Peter Obi regarding the demolition of a property belonging to his brother. We wish to categorically state that the Lagos State Building Control Agency, LASBCA, or any other arm of the Lagos state government did not carry out the said demolition. Mr. Olajide Babatunde, the Special Advisor, Urban Development, who supervises the LASBCA, has confirmed that the agency was not involved in the demolition. We find it disturbing that Mr. Peter Obi would make such allegations without verifying the facts. And then he goes on to say that the Lagos state government is committed to upholding the rule of law and ensuring the safety and security of all residents. We will not tolerate any act of lawlessness or violations of extant laws. Any individual or group found involved in such acts will be brought to justice. Now, take note of this last paragraph. We urge the public to disregard Mr. Peter Obi's claims and rest assured that the Lagos state government will continue to work tirelessly to maintain law and order in our great state. Now, there are reactions to this particular tweet. Let's take a look at them. So, Petkoff says, this means that you guys really did it. You are telling the public to disregard him, but still saying that you will investigate. So that means we should disregard him when you have not confirmed if he is saying the truth or not. There's another one. Let's take a look at it. Woye says again and again that Peter Obi should apologize for lying against government. More reactions. Let's take a look at it. So Abidemi says, this should spell it all out for you. Is replying D. Joe Adebayo. The Lagos state government is denying having anything to do with the demolition. Two things has been established. There was no demolition permit or eviction notice, and the Lagos state government didn't carry out the demolition or approve it. Can you imagine any private individual going to the JRA or Duduwa Crescent, where the likes of Aregbesola and other current and former government official and APC stalwarts live, to demolish a property without a permit? You will become a victim of this type of injustice someday soon, and you will understand. More reactions. Let's take a look at them. So DK says, the man said his brother's property was brought down illegally. It is more shocking that the government has come out to deny any involvement. Instead of working towards resolving the issue and getting to the root of it, you are more focused on telling the public to disregard Obi, which you did twice in the post, but forgot to apologize even for once of the unlawful damages. Okay, even when you forgot to apologize, even once for the unlawful damages. You are worried Obi made allegations without verification, but not worried that somebody can demolish a building within your jurisdiction without consent. Chima Echefole says, I was expecting you to give us a name of who carried out the demolition and on whose command. For an individual to be bold enough to carry out such demolition, the government must be involved. Let us know who and why. So this is really, deep. People are saying, you are asking the public to disregard Peter Obi's claims, but you're saying you're going to carry out investigations. But someone also said Peter Obi should also apologize to Lagos State government because the Lagos State government said he had made claims which he hadn't verified and all of that. How does it strike you, though?
So you're a teacher in a school, and then you punish a student. You ask the child to kneel down, and then you left. You went to do something else, and then you came back. You didn't see the child there. You got angry. I asked this child to kneel down here, and the child ran away. And then the child's friend, you saw, where's for the sake of this conversation, where is Mr. A that I asked to kneel down here? And the friend said, someone came with a cane and flogged, wanted to beat him, and he ran away. Now, as a teacher, the first thing you do is, who is that person? You want to find out who that person was that came to do that thing, because you actually had him kneel down before you left, right? But instead of that, you didn't pay attention to that person, whoever the person is with the cane. Should have stayed there. Then the problem is this child is disobedient. You ask him to kneel down, he ran away. It means that, of course, the person who came with the cane was sent by you, or you have a hand in it, or you approve of whatever decision the person came with.
What if you didn't know of the
then it's your job happened? To actually find out why that person or who that person was to actually dare to come chase the person who you asked to kneel down, right?
Okay.
And then you decide not to talk about the person who came with the cane, but the child who ran away from the person who came with the cane. It means either you approve of the person who came with the cane, or you sense the person.
There's another option, or you go investigate.
If you choose not to investigate.
Yeah, but that's an option.
That's an
investigate.
option. No.
But you're saying don't blame the child for running away.
First,
because
right.
he was trying to save his cane.
So at that point, right, why are you calling out someone who's saying the government brought down my property?
Because we saw it. There's an evidence of the demolition. Yeah.
They can't deny the demolition, right? Now, this demolition didn't just happen in Lagos. It happened in the heart of Lagos. Now, if you understand Lagos very well, there are certain areas that are described as the old money of Lagos. GRO is one of them, right? Now, the heart of Lagos, capital of Lagos, Ikeja, a place where, the creme de la creme of Lagos stays.
Somebody mentioned on X,
and then,
people like Aregbesola.
And then something happened, the first thing a responsible father, which is the government in this case, would do or should do is to ask who that person is.
Yeah.
How come that person gained entrance into this part of, because just imagine the person who actually demolished this building have another motive to just go into that particular area, start killing, influential people in the society. That's another angle.
Yeah.
Right.
That is a totally different kind of
faith. You see? Yeah. So now you understand the level of uproar that will cause. Now somebody entered it. This is a breach of security. This is a breach of trust. This is also a means to tell investors, don't come in here. This place is not safe, because as far as I'm concerned, in fact, the issue of unknown soldier has now been moved to unknown demolition, because we don't have these sort of things anywhere else in the world. How can you go into a prime location, demolish a building, and the government of this day is saying they don't know? Let's assume, let's even call them to slack that it's possible that an agent went rogue.
Because is that a possibility?
Yeah, let's even say,
because it is a possibility.
People can go mad.
Yeah.
So let's say an agent.
People can do that.
People can go mad.
Well, people can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
People can go mad. And they decide to actually demolish a building, right? Without the government knowing. it is the duty of the government to step in and say, who did this? I need to know, Mr. Obi, please, we are sorry. We need to find out who did this. In the next 24 hours, the culprit comes and everything is resolved. That's how it works in the same society.
Can we dissect this without sentiments, right? Because I understand the gravity of this situation. It was clear that Peter Obi had in his mind who he thought had demolished his brother's building. He actually called it a witch hunt and said it was all because he had run for a position and all of that.
And he's not wrong. He's not wrong until the state proves him wrong by actually bringing the person who did it.
Is it right for the state to say that we didn't do it if actually they didn't do it? And is it right for them to also say they were going to investigate, which is what they said they were going to do? They said they were going to investigate, but first they denied, they debunked the claim. But what people are having issue with, really, the grouse, is the fact that they are saying disregard the claims. So is it the whole of the tweet you just saw, the whole of the statement you have issues with, or this particular section where they say that it should be disregarded?
The entirety of the speech or whatever it is,
of the statement,
the communique, right, is actually wrong. You don't present a position like that from. You see, the government is trying to say they are ignorant of what happened. Now, an ignorant person does not come from that particular space because it shows a total lack of empathy.
Where does an ignorant person or someone who is not aware of what has happened, where do they come from?
Now, first you take responsibility as the government of the day, so you are sorry, you apologize. That's the first thing you do. You apologize because the fact that you're trying, because they're being defensive. If you read this thing they said, they've been clearly defensive. And you're only defensive when you know something.
Yeah.
It's just like me coming into your house, and I usually come regular to borrow your iron, right? I want to iron my clothes. And I walked in, and I said, please, borrow me your iron. And you said, I don't know where it is. It simply means you don't want to give it out.
Well, it could be possible that I don't know where it is.
How can you not know where it is in your house?
It's not always that a defensive person is guilty or is trying to hide stuff. There are times when you become defensive even though you don't know stuff.
Now that's the point, right?
Yeah.
If you're being defensive when you don't know something, it means you have a very terrible way of communicating. Okay,
so there's supposed to be neutrality.
Yes,
here.
Of course.
You're saying apologize first.
From a government.
Because you are in Lagos State.
It is your home ground.
Legit property which was illegally demolished.
Yes.
Because according to the judgment they had, the court judgment, it was an unknown person it was addressed to. Where does that happen?
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's exactly where the problem is. The government should have just apologize and say, you know what, we're going to look into this matter, give us few time, and tell the populace to calm down, because even the people living in that particular GRA are also very not safe at this point, because how can people just walk into it? Means tomorrow someone can just walk into your property and demolish it. Well,
the government has said that they're going to carry out an investigation to find out who do this, so we're going to be keeping our fingers on this. Yeah,
you apologize before saying you
that's your recommendation.
That's exactly what it should have done.
Government should apologize and
they should have done that.
Yeah, okay, well, now that they've not done it, they're going to investigate, and then let's see how this pans out. And you always are an advocate for a scapegoat. You are always saying there must be deterrent, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're saying whoever did it must be brought to book if it is investigated.
I'll tell you the truth, right? This matter, we're not going to see anything out of it. But let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. No assumptions here. As events unfold, guys, we will keep you posted. The next hashtag now is hashtag National Youth Service Corps. This is very weighty. It just wipes the smile off of your face totally. So a young man who actually killed his girlfriend, dismembered her, has been sentenced to death by hanging. Why don't I just put up this tweet from X so you have a full picture of it. The High Court in Lafia, this is the Punch newspapers, the High Court in Lafia, Nasarawa State, has sentenced Oluwatimileyin Ajayi to death by hanging for the gruesome murder of a National Youth Service Corps member, Salome Adaudu. Kechuku, I don't even know what to say about this.
It's crazy.
You know, it was just yesterday we talked about the death penalty, the Kebbi State government saying they are going to seek for the death penalty for anyone who is a bandit informant.
Terrorist.
Well,
terrorist informant.
Well, the Kebbi State government said bandit informant.
Yeah.
And we talked about how someone actually on Twitter had said that You're talking about death penalty. No governor is going to sign, stuff like that and all. And we said how probably it is an outdated law, capital punishment. But this is a totally different thing.
Yes, and this is, I want to believe these are one of the cases where governors will just want to sign it. But the problem here is, I also know that when they bring up stuff like this, they don't just bring up one name. So it kind of list of names, and the government just have to append, because you don't have to bring this list all of the time. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
So it might take a while.
It might take a while, and eventually. But of course, I want to see him executed, sincerely. Because, I mean, you don't do that to a human being, right? I even heard...
She was a National Corps...
Yes.
NYSC member.
At the point...
National Youth Service Corps member.
Yeah. So it's a very sad thing, right? And it goes back to the issue of organ trafficking, ritual killing, and so many things like that. People should really be careful. When the economy is bad, people tend to do so many nasty things for survival. It's
interesting that you mentioned this, that when the economy is bad, people do stuff. Yesterday on News Hour, we had a guest who said, we're talking about drug abuse and how authorities are raising eyebrow that there are more and more young people who are into drug abuse now. And our guest on the bulletin said there are two reasons: hardship, bad economy, bad leadership, and then the fact that these kids are idle.
There's a third. The third is the fact that the crime, or the crime actually, is actually now very much in the open. And there's something about the human psyche, right? The psychology of a person. When something is out there, people tend to be attracted to it, either good or bad, right? A couple of years ago, research was done in Harvard about why people commit suicide. And it was related to the fact that, particularly, they used India as a case study. There was a time, suicide was rife in India. Young people commit suicide regularly. So it was confirmed that because this, suicide story is usually televised or put in the national day, people get to read it. So whenever people get to a point where they cannot handle it, they just contemplate what they've seen. So it's naturally stuck in people's head. Yeah. So the idea of ritual and all of that, aside the fact that economy is the main bane of it, there's also a part where it has to do with psychological issues, what people see and attractions.
What you take in, basically. That's why you should really control what you take in. What you consume, it really basically influences you. It's interesting actually that you took this line of thought. Not on the morning show, Morning Buzz, some months ago, I remember Dr. Peter Anosike talking about the same thing. We talked about ritual. Ritual killing for money-making purposes and all of that. And we had another guest jumping outside of the studio, and we're talking about how Nollywood has not contributed to, this whole, has not helped the society.
Yes, of course.
Because when you have the movie industry, the music industry, keep, talking about one recurring storyline, it sticks.
Yeah, it's called inoculation in media. When that's one thing some big media houses also do. Regularly tell a story. When you keep telling the story, people tend to be attracted to it. It's a law of association and attraction in psychology. So people tend to...
There must be a shift of paradigm.
Yes, this is where the National Orientation Agency should step in. Stuff like this should be dealt with, but should not be in the open.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Because when it happens like that, people tend to want to do it. Whatever it is that gives this guy money. Well, I mean, if I'm so frustrated, I just have to look for someone to kill and then find a way to survive. So
it's rather unfortunate. Absolutely. Yeah, it is. But this particular hashtag, hashtag National Youth Service Corps, is trending for two purposes. Why don't I take you to X so you see what I'm saying? The What podcast put up this tweet and is explaining to us why this is trending for both purposes. So it is because of this National Youth Service Corps member who was killed, and also because of this other one, Ray, who is very much alive, but who allegedly had her service year extended because she publicly criticized the president. Now, I'm saying allegedly for a reason. In a short while, we talked about this not too long ago. Now, take a look at the next tweet, which was put up by Take It Back, the Take It Back movement. Take It Back movement, which is heavily associated with the activist, human rights activist Omoyele Sowore, says, the National Youth Service Corps is a statutory civic obligation, or has a statutory civic obligation for Nigerian graduates. I'm trying to, this grammar is not too correct, but let's go. It says the NYSC has a civic obligation for Nigerian graduates, or to Nigerian graduates, and it's not a personal enterprise of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. No corps member should be victimized for exercising their rights to free expression or criticizing poor governance. But the NYSC is debunking claims that it extended raised service year. Take a look at this next tweet that was put up by The Punch. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, The Punch newspaper says, the National Youth Service Corps has denied extending the service year of a Lagos copper, Rita Ugwamaye, also known as Ray, for criticizing the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is a new twist to this story. It's
beautiful. At least the debunk it, everybody can go to bed now.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah, because what the Take It Back movement was saying, no Rita, no Ray, no POP passing our parade.
It's
so
good.
If this is true that this didn't happen,
absolutely,
then we are good.
Yes,
absolutely.
I mean, it's so good also that the issue came up, so we actually saw it, and then the reaction. Sometimes there's something politicians do. They try to test waters.
Yeah.
They throw something to see the reaction of the people. If it's not big, then they'll come back again harder. Yeah. If it's big, they'll try to restrain and perhaps look for a better way to bring it up. But it's good that this is put to bed now, and the young woman can actually graduate with her mates.
So we say congratulations to Ray. Absolutely. And now we'll quickly go to the last hashtag for today, which is hashtag Kenya. Oh, no, we have one more before Kenya. Tax reform bill, that's the next hashtag. So the president signed series of bills into law today, and it's trending. Yeah, so I just want to give you a clearer picture of what this means. Some people might not know. So why don't we go on X and find out what the FIRS, which is no longer the FIRS, is saying, and then a little breakdown of what this means for Nigerians. And while we are talking, though, there's a picture of the president signing these laws. That's it, the tax reform bill surrounded by his kitchen cabinet. And this is big deal, Ikechukwu. When the president proposed this initially last year, there was an uproar. The North especially kicked against it.
Yeah.
This took like 9 months, and it has happened.
It has. And congratulations to the president.
Yeah.
And congratulations to people who will be benefiting from it, because I don't know how much is really going to benefit the people at this point, except something changed as regards our laws. I've always been on that particular end of the stick. But then this is it, right? This has been moved. I see this as a political move. I see this as the president saying, you know what? You guys have decided not to back me for 2027, so I'm going to go for a jugular. Oh,
you think this is a jab at the North?
Absolutely, because when it first came up, I said, hey, this is the president trying to throw, this is a stick and a carrot and a stick approach. You guys should restrain, or I pull this.
But this wasn't just the presidency alone or the executive alone. It passed through the National Assembly, which is heavily, how will I say it? You have Northerners there.
The Jibrin Barrow,
who assented to it.
Jibrin Barrow, who is the Deputy Senate President, said in his word, I think it was yesterday, he said, I'll do whatever the president wants. That means we don't even have a National Assembly.
Well, which is what Senator Ali Ndume had said.
So if you say it's a pass through, well, I don't know.
But yeah, I just wanted to point out that it wasn't just Tinubu alone. You had the National Assembly, but you're saying there's no National Assembly. That's for you. But then again, Honorable Faleke also said that the president is a very bold leader. That he did 2 things really when it comes to the economy of the nation, talking about economic reforms. He said the removal of subsidies. Some people are saying there's no removal of subsidy, for crying out loud. Dele Faleke said that was a good thing. That was a bold thing that no other leader would have done, that President Tinubu has done, removal of subsidy and the passage of this tax reform bill. And he said, kudos to you, Mr. President. Dele Faleke, by the way, is President Tinubu's person.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's go back to X and find out more of this tax reform bill, shall we? Let's take a look at the next tweet. It is hashtag a tax reform bill on X. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, NG, says on Thursday, June 26, 2025, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu officially signed into law a set of transformative tax bills aimed at reforming Nigeria's tax systems. So there's a breakdown to this which I want for you to take a look at. Let's see. Presidency in Nigeria says President Tinubu signs 4 major tax bills into law today. And today marks a bold step forward in Nigeria's economic reform agenda as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu officially signs 4 transformative tax bills into law. These new laws aim to simplify tax processes, boost revenue, attract investment, and enhance the ease of doing business across the nation. From the Nigeria Tax Bill to the creation of a new revenue service and joint revenue board, the reforms lay a solid foundation for a more transparent, efficient, and investor-friendly tax system. A new chapter in Nigeria's tax and revenue story begins. There's a further breakdown of this. Let's take a look. So here is what the new development means for Nigeria and Nigerians. MS Ingangwa says, Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, will now become Nigeria Revenue Service, NRS. The Nigeria Revenue Service, NIS, will now collect revenues previously handled by agencies such as the Nigeria Customs Service, NUPRC, MPA, and NIMASA. Tax exemption for workers earning 800,000 naira and below annually. Take note, Ikechukwu. 25% personal income tax applies only to individuals earning above 50 million annually. Small businesses owners are exempted from paying income tax. Company income tax for medium and large companies will be reduced from 30% to 25% starting in 2026. Value-added tax VAT exemptions on essential goods and services consumed by the poor, including food items, medical services, pharmaceuticals, educational fees, and electricity. So does this mean that, the prices of pharmaceuticals, would come down? I mean, they are giving priority to the poor. That's what this is saying. And that there's going to be a tax exemption for workers earning 800,000 naira and below annually.
Well, I mean, the economy is very bad.
Yeah.
So many of these things, the poor will not really see. We are really not even a producing nation.
Yeah.
So when it comes to tax on pharmaceutical, it's still very much not something we can actually see the benefit of at this point. But of course, it's actually a good proposition at this point. So hopefully, if we get a government that is better than what we have it now, maybe if we have become a productive economy, then we can actually see the dividend of this. But in the long run, it's actually not a bad one. But from my own point, right, like I said before, when they first pushed this bill, I think it was last year, the North was revolting. I saw it as a carrot and stick. I said, if the North did not, at the end of the day, back this president, if it's clear that these guys are not going to actually make the move to actually support him like they did in 2023, it's definitely going to make sure that this bill passed, and exactly what he did. Now,
you talked about the North revolting. Interestingly, our next hashtag is hashtag Kenya. And guess what the protest was? It was a revolt. It was called hashtag Reject Finance Bill 2024. And it happened in Kenya last year. It was massive. Now, in commemoration of the first anniversary of that protest, where lots of Gen Zs were killed, Gen Zs stormed the streets again yesterday, and this has spilled over into today with reports by the CNN that people have been killed. Why don't we go on X? I'll put up this tweet first, and then I'll show you a video of what exactly is going on in Kenya as we speak from yesterday to date. So let's take a look at that tweet that was put up by Larry Madowo, who is actually the CNN correspondent in Nigeria. And he says at least 16 people were killed in protests across the country yesterday, Amnesty Kenya says. Now, Larry put up this just some hours ago, and he said, we saw police violently crack down on largely peaceful protesters. This dramatic report highlights some of the questionable actions were filmed. Larry was on ground to film the protest. He was right there, so he's talking about what he knows. But there are videos, though. Take a look. We'll be right back. Ikechukwu, that is a mammoth crowd. Now, talking about protest.
One thing separates them from countries like Nigeria. What separates them is how they got their independence. The Mau Mau fighters actually fought, they bled for the country. There's a reason why these guys see themselves as a nation. Now, there's also this very popular saying, say, snake will always born something way long, right? If you don't have the spirit of revolution in your DNA, it's going to be difficult. After the NSAS crackdown, Nigerians cannot even, so afraid to come out to protest. But look at these guys. After what happened last year, you saw how they came all out last year, and look at them again, and they'll continue coming because it is in their DNA to actually come out to fight against whatever
and what are they fighting? Hardship, really?
Yes,
it
whatever
was
it is.
Finance bill.
Whatever it is that is repressive,
and they said no.
They're definitely going to fight it. That's exactly what is making them different from us as regards the coloration of or the composition of the country.
Well, let's see what the Guardian is saying regarding this particular matter. Now, while I'm putting up this tweet is because there are germane questions that the Guardian put up at the end of this thing. So, the Guardian Nigeria says thousands of young Kenyans, mostly from Generation Z, aka Gen Z, have taken to the streets across major cities in a growing wave of protests demanding political accountability, economic reforms, and youth inclusion in governance. What began as online conversations under the hashtag Gen Z uprising quickly spilled into real-world action with peaceful demonstrations reported in Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, and Eldoret. Protesters largely under 30 are voicing concerns over rising unemployment, inflation, corruption, and lack of representation in national decision-making. The government has acknowledged the protests, with Interior Ministry officials calling for dialogue. However, no formal meetings have been announced as of press time. Analysts say the Gen Z movement marks a turning point in Kenyan civic engagement, powered by digital mobilization, creative expression, and a refusal to accept the status quo. Now, these are the questions. What are the potential long-term impacts of this Gen Z movement on Kenyan governance, I should say, particularly in terms of increasing youth representation and reshaping civic engagement? Talking about youth representation, under the former administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, he had passed the Not Too Young to Run bill. I don't know how effective that has been, but the Guardian is saying, how about if you involve youths in governance and all? It probably will work as we wrap this up. So
the problem is not, if you like, say, okay, youth, you are welcome, or come and be part of the system, come and do it. See, the truth is, the law must be that when you see, or the law must clearly spell it out, that this is exactly what, for example, let me make it clearer. You see, the way Nigerian constitution is, I always go back there because that's exactly where we should start from. The youth should be very much in, the process of writing a constitution that reflects the country. People who ruled Nigeria in the early years are below 50. These men are actually very young men. Even during the military era, the Gowons of this world, Ojukwu, these guys were in their 30s, right? Because of the way the country was formed at that point, right? Now at this point, this country belongs to the next generation. Now, whatever it is that they did in 99, the constitution, how they wrote it in such a way. I mean, not too long ago, before they actually, changed the. I think to become president, you must have attained the age of 40. So all of these are bottlenecks that needs to, these are conversations that needs to be had. These are things that people need to sit down. The young people need to sit down and say, hey, this is not the kind of country that we want. We have, people, outside other countries that have people that are quite young. So we need to actually look at our law, and then we can, take it from there.
Talking about looking at our law, there are talks of a constitutional review.
There have always been talks.
Yeah, but there are talks as we speak.
Yeah, that's what they always do.
We are going to keep our finger on that as well. But big thanks to the incredible crew behind the scene. And a bigger thanks to you guys for watching. Why don't you join me, Vivian, top of the hour for news. But for Ikechukwu and I, there's going to be another edition Let's make it a date. Another hashtag edition tomorrow, same time, same station. Until then, keep safe and bye.